I find it so interesting how overnight, essentially overnight, the Neanderthal became a superior, misunderstood species who scientists thought were dumb, right? Because when you thought that you could trace the Neanderthal back to black people, the Neanderthal was a dumb monkey. But since you're tracing the Neanderthal back to yourselves and those who look like you and share your attributes, all of a sudden, the Neanderthal was actually pretty cool and smart and superior. If I know nothing else about racist people besides their weakness and inferiority, especially in the mind, I know that they have been shielded and continue to make the choice to shield themselves from their own history, right? Because you're so busy being superior to everybody else that you can't be bothered to know your own history. And it's interesting how your history consists of filthiness, death, and disease. Black Plague, Europe, Asia, 1300s. In fact, it was so bad that it started to spread to North Africa because Africa's here and Southern Europe is here. They're extremely close to each other. Moving on. And so I'm going to hop to the Moors of Spain, right? Who had to teach you how to bathe, not only because you were dying of your filthiness, but because, again, I reiterate, your filthiness was spreading to North Africa. Moving on. Then there would be your relatives in a different part of Europe. In England, the Great Stink of 1858, because fuck toilets. Just throw your shit in a river. Huh. Okay. You have a recorded history of refusing to take baths because you believe that hygiene brings disease and that soap and water are your enemies. So you took yearly baths and you shared the bath water and you tried not to throw the baby out with the bath water. And other people smelled you. The Africans and Native Americans who encountered you said that you smelled like death. Quite literally, putrid. You smelled like that when you sailed over to America and stole land that doesn't belong to you. So now that we've covered Europeans, others, and their lack of hygiene, let's move on to your genetic makeup. Okay. Now, these are scientific terms, okay? Except for the last one, okay? You are a rhesus monkey. You are more closely related to a monkey than any black person has ever been and will ever be. Moving on. There's your recessive DNA because in biology class, right? Intermediate biology class, we learn about recessive and dominant traits, and then we learned that pale skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes are recessive traits and mutations. Again, these are scientific terms. Moving on. You are also classified as a Neanderthal species, something I am not. I'm a humanoid. Moving on. The last one, which is also a part of your history and which ties into your genetic makeup, you are a cave dweller. That is why you can handle the cold better than anybody else. That is why you can handle rugged environments better than anybody else. You're used to it. Moving on. Next, let's address your ungodly nature. All of the following. Bestiality, which is having sex with animals, okay, which is also the cause of many diseases. Moving on. Pedophilia, because you enjoy having sex with children and you think that it's okay and that it's acceptable and everybody else should just let you. Okay. Then there's your cannibalism, because you love to eat human flesh, especially black people's flesh, and Jeffrey Dahmer. Moving on to your ungodly systems. Racism, we already know that has deadly effects, literally and figuratively. Classism, fascism, anything with an ism on it. Moving on to your treacherous behavior. thievery. What have you not stolen? And then you have your relatives, right, all throughout England who are still refusing, some are still refusing to return the artifacts that they looted from Africa. How is it that you steal something and refuse to return it or tell the person who you stole it from, well, buy it back? Or I just borrowed it. I'll give it back when I'm ready. And that's just one example of your thievery. And then there's Christopher Columbus coming over here stealing land. And when you're not stealing artifacts, you're stealing land. When you're not stealing land, you're stealing bodies. When you're not stealing bodies, you're stealing money. When you're not stealing money, you're stealing something. Then there's your rape. Do I really need to expand on that? Moving on to your genocide. You have killed more human beings by genocide than any other form of mechanism that would end a human life. Moving on to your psychology. You are manipulative. You love to gaslight. You love using reverse psychology, doing mental gymnastics, playing mind games. You also lack empathy. You lack humanity. You're inhumane and you are savage-like. You have a past and present recorded history of all of the above, and yet you have the audacity to turn this way, call us savages, rapists, racists, pedophiles, monkeys, and dirty, when based on the facts, all of these things historically and presently apply to you. That's the art of deflection and projection.